Hey guys, how are you? It's Courtney Hall, editor-in-chief of Bella Magazine, and I'm sitting here with one of my favorite people in the whole world, Dr. Robbie Ludwig. Hey, Robbie.
So glad to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Well, you know what? It's almost like fun girl chat because we're friends. We know each
Yes.
other so well,
And we've talked about this actually away from the cameras and
Yes.
away from the magazine because it's such a compelling topic, really, and it's all around us.
it's all around us.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in the new issue of Bella, Dr. Robbie writes an amazing piece on profiling the sexual harasser. This is going to be a new segment for Bella where we really want to feature every month on a real hot topic that is affecting women's lives, people's lives, and what's going on. And I'm thrilled that you joined our medical advisory board about a year and a half ago.
Yes. Oh my God.
It's been amazing.
I actually still have a picture of our first lunch.
Do you?
I do.
At the Tribeca Grill,
I
right?
do.
Yeah.
I do, because it was just the beginning of just so many creative projects and
That's
of course
right.
our friendship. And so I feel very blessed.
Well, thank you, Robbie.
I
Well,
do.
I feel very blessed because not only is Robbie part of the Bella Medical Advisory Board, but she's actually a nationally known and respected psychotherapist,
thank you.
author.
Thank you.
And I can see you on pretty much every major network, CNN, Fox, Headline News. I'm obsessed with Investigation Discovery
Oh,
and
I
those
know.
psychos on that show.
Yeah.
And I know that you know,
Sadly, I really just understand the criminal mind.
Okay.
It makes a lot of sense to me. My family will be like, well, we get why you understand it. But I think it's really interesting to break down extreme behavior because we're all really interested in it. And it might be a passing thought that a healthy person has, but
That's
doesn't
right.
act on it.
Exactly, exactly. Well, that, I guess, is my first question here, is that, who are these people? What
Yeah.
makes up, the typical sexual harasser, and why has it become so unbelievably widespread?
Yeah. Well, there was an interesting study that found it was really hard to profile these harassers because they wouldn't self-identify. So nobody would, raise their hand and say, I'm a sexual harasser, come analyze me. And so they would draw parallels initially from rapists.
Really?
Who would come in and violate those boundaries and have angry feelings towards the opposite sex or same sex, whatever the case may be. So that's the fascinating psychological idea here, is that they're not self-identifying. Very often they don't see themselves as harassing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of denial. So there's an entitlement there of, I am the man, I want this, I'm going to take it. And you are the woman, and that's what you're there for. So many of these harassers go into denial. Mm-hmm. And it's not until they lose everything that some of them, not all of them, might be willing to reconsider their behavior and identify it in a different way.
Well, you know what? I feel like, I personally have been so shocked over the past 4 months by some of the names. These
Yeah.
are people that I thought I respected, thought I liked. And
These are people I worked with,
yeah,
some of them.
No, it's true,
Yeah.
Robbie. And it's just shocking when, you don't even really know anymore, how people really are inside. Everything is so social media and, the TV shows.
Right.
But I feel like, how did some of these people, like Harvey Weinstein, how did it ever get that far when clearly a ton of people knew about this behavior?
Well, Harvey was very powerful.
Well, of
so
course.
he was a very powerful, wealthy man who controlled many people's careers. Mm-hmm. And most people don't want to go up against a big giant. First of all, they can't afford it.
It's true.
And he silenced a lot of people. And it wasn't until Ronan Farrow really, came out with these stories and was an amazing journalist and also had an axe to grind. You have to remember,
Yes.
his father is Woody Allen, and he did not like the idea of sexual harassers or sexual abusers getting away with it because of their power.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said about the PR machine.
It's so true, how it's spun.
Right? So
That's
you
right.
have a powerful PR machine and a powerful person who can sue and silence people.
Right.
And those people can get away with these horrible behaviors some of the time, or all of the time until they're caught.
Absolutely. But you know what? What do they think when they're doing this? I think of things, I think of Harvey's wife and Matt's wife. do you think that they know what's going on? I mean, it is their spouse, that this is who they truly are, or do you think that they're as blindsided as everyone else?
Oh gosh, that is an interesting question that probably varies from case to case. So what I would say in Harvey's situation, it's interesting because I knew people who worked for Harvey.
Okay.
And they said he really loved his wife. And I think there's some misconception there because somebody can cheat on their wife and really love them.
100%.
They just consider it kind of, that's what they do. They cheat.
Boys will be boys.
So he loved his wife. He would call her several times a day and ask for her advice. So I imagine his wife knew that he cheated. And the people who worked for him, worked for Harvey, knew that he cheated, knew that he had affairs. The people I know really did not know that he was crossing the line in terms of raping or kind of forcing women to have sex with him, because what one of my friends said was he was very charming. Mm-hmm. He was very good at getting what he wanted. So the thought that he would have to force somebody to have sex, this powerful guy who created a lot of careers,
right,
was not something that they would go to as a first thought. So I think for these wives, they probably know that their husbands cheat, mm-hmm, or play around, but I highly doubt that they thought that any kind of rape was going on.
No,
I
absolutely.
don't think that they thought that. And there's denial.
Of course.
Right? There's denial. When it comes to our closest relationships, we don't want to believe the worst.
Of course not.
Right.
No, absolutely not. No, it's true. You know what? Another question I have along the same line is, a lot of people, which I'm so against, are shaming the victims. Like, how could you go upstairs knowing that you're meeting him in a hotel room at midnight? Mm-hmm. And I just want our viewers to understand from, an expert in the field, why it's not that cut and dry.
Right.
Why did they go?
Right. Well, I'm sure they didn't go. Listen, some of them might have gone knowing the casting couch,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So that's a certain category of woman that said, I'm willing to do this for my career, and that is the deal I've made with myself, right? But for the women who were not going there to have sex, they were going there to have a business meeting. That's the only place where the business meeting was taking place.
That's
and
right.
Nobody asked to be abused, right? So there's always the hope. There's always the wish, I'll be different. If I set my boundaries, it'll be respected.
Right.
Or let me see if I can treat this guy well enough without crossing any lines. So I think there's wishful thinking. People are hopeful. They feel if they're on the up and up, then the other person will be as well. And you're right, things are not so cut and dry. It's easy to sit and judge.
That's right.
The bottom line is, let's say a woman went up there, just, for argument's sake, and took all of her clothes off and said, have sex with me, I want the job. A real gentleman would say, we're not going there. Put your clothes back on, and let's talk about
Act
what
like
you
a
have
lady.
to offer. Right.
That's right.
Let's not, something's wrong that you're doing this.
That's right.
So, I think that everybody needs to be responsible in terms of how they interact with people, even who are willing to offer sex for a job.
That's
to
right.
say no.
Exactly. And to know your worth.
And to know your worth. And I think this Me Too movement
I was going to just mention that. Perfect.
is really helping women to articulate their boundaries. So we're learning that I think there's a lot of shame that goes on and self-blaming when somebody crosses a line sexually or somebody is inappropriate. I think the first natural go-to thought is, did I do something to bring this on?
Absolutely.
Was I inappropriate in some way that I missed? So we are very inclined to blame ourselves, in part because women are nurturers.
That's right.
We take responsibility for relationships.
That's right.
And so now we know, listen, if somebody is crossing a line, we need to find different ways to say, no, I'm not comfortable with that.
That's right.
Or let me come back later. Or if that's what you're interested in, be willing to say, that's not me. I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong idea. Find a way to use your words to get out of a situation that's awkward.
Absolutely. No, it's very, very smart. Well, you know what? I think that campaign, it really came to light in October. And I think it was very refreshing for all women of all ages, saying that we will not tolerate this. Men too, anyone who's been harassed in any way.
Right.
I just feel that, now it's time to band together.
Yes.
Have, one voice saying that this is unacceptable. Do you think that things will really change after all of this?
Well, it's an interesting question I've been asked a lot.
Okay.
And I have two answers for that. Number one, human nature is human nature.
Of course.
So, people are going to continue to cross boundaries and continue to cross those lines and have fantasies. And so I don't think human nature changes that quickly. But what I will say is that people are now fearful in a way that they were not before.
Absolutely.
So anyone who wants to maintain their reputation, hold on to their job, is fearful that they could be accused of something that they actually have not done. I think they're going to be very careful to make sure that those boundaries are in place. And one of the things that I have said that has really been a game changer too is technology. So you don't need to hire a cameraman to come in and document some wrongdoing.
That's right.
Right? Anybody's phone
It's
can
insane.
document.
That's right.
And so we take things out of the realm of he said, she said.
That's right.
And Gretchen Carlson did that. And that was a game changer in terms of her case. She had a
right.
recording.
That's
And,
right.
and young kids today, hopefully we can educate them as to, first of all, our boys on how to treat women.
Absolutely.
And women in terms of how to use their voice when they're uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
It's not that important to be liked by somebody who's not respecting you.
Absolutely
And
not.
and to kind of give them the self-esteem and the words and the languaging to use so that they can get themselves out of an awkward situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? My last question is really because I know you have a young daughter.
Yes.
And I have two young girls at home,
Yeah.
14 and 12. And, I feel as though we were very sheltered as children. We came from practically the same hometown, you
Right.
know, and I don't know, I feel sheltered. And I feel now they have access to everything.
Right.
What advice would you offer, the younger girls right now moving into their, late teens and 20s just to, have their voice and,
Yeah, I mean,
move things
exactly
in the right direction?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
To like yourself, to know if somebody is not respecting your boundaries, then they're not the right person for you.
Absolutely.
Protect a person's ego wherever you can. There's a way to say no nicely.
That's right.
And walk away. But I think it's really important for girls to know that really the courting relationship dynamics don't change that much.
That's right.
Men like to chase. There will be boys who will try to get away with crossing those boundaries because boys will be boys. There will be girls who try to,
Yes.
move forward too quickly in
It's
order to
true.
be liked.
It's the girls too.
Yeah, it's the girls too.
yeah.
And so that you don't need to do that. The
That's
person
right.
that likes you will respect you, to find different language, to use your words to set those boundaries,
That's right.
and to always come from a place of being thoughtful about what situation you're going into. If something doesn't feel comfortable, get out of it.
That's right. Listen to your gut. and
Listen
how
to
you
your
feel
gut.
Inside. That's right.
But I have to say, and we did go to college in the same areas too.
it's so true.
I
We
know.
have like the same life.
And I felt like I would never have to worry about any of the men that I dated or interacted with. They would never treat anyone with disrespect. I just never saw it. Listen, I wasn't perfect in college.
Of
I'm sure
course.
somebody could have tried to cross the line. Never.
I know.
Never.
It's
So
very
I don't
different.
know if it was just an innocent time or maybe it was going on with certain sociopathic kind of characters and it just didn't get out because of the shame.
Yeah.
But in general, they were good people.
I agree. So I feel like, you know what? We need to be even more focused on these young kids
Yeah.
because times have changed. I actually told my oldest last night, I'm like, my childhood was not better than yours, but it was just much more. I was a child.
Yeah.
And nowadays these kids are being inundated with everything. And
So many images, and I think those
That's right.
images also stimulate some primitive behavior
That's right.
that could get people to act in ways they shouldn't be acting or create mood issues that maybe they would not have otherwise. So I'm a real proponent of social emotional education.
Okay.
We don't teach that.
No.
And think about how important it is to know how to interact successfully with people.
That's right.
You know, it's probably more important than calculus. Of course, I'm not a math person, so I will say that. But
I will say I've never used it once.
right.
Okay.
So, and I do have to interact with people every day, and to understand your emotions when you need to set boundaries, when you're feeling sad, that you're probably never as alone as you think you are,
That's right.
and how to find your group of support systems so
right.
that you know that you have people who are in your corner. And so if you help kids navigate emotionally through challenging times, it's a wonderful gift to give them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Robbie, you are such a pleasure.
Oh, likewise.
Thank you so much. You know what? I feel like we really hit on a lot of topics. I'm like, it's very inspiring.
And I think that we should also let everybody know that if they really want
Yes.
to delve into some of the more detailed,
That's right.
even somewhat analytic, if they're curious, types of different accusers, they can get the magazine and just look for the article and
That's right.
and write back and let us know what you think.
Absolutely. Actually, our new issue with Jesse James Decker is on sale everywhere now. You can find it in every Barnes & Noble, 500 newsstands, hotels, airports. So pick up a copy. And you can always go to bellanymag.com and order a single copy there. So I'm really excited, Robbie. I think this was an amazing kickoff to our Hot Topics section.
Oh, yeah, so exciting.
Yes, and I think that all of you guys look forward to a lot more of this. I feel that it's going to be a great year at Bella, and we are going to be focusing on the hot topics and bringing them to you.
I feel so good about 2018.
So do I.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next week.